Ladies and gentlemen, and Mubot in the chat, welcome to the Esports Championship Series, a joint league, the largest non-publisher, prize pool of anyone in the world. $3.5 million on the line, and it kicks off today. My name is Sadokis. Joining me on the desk, none other than my lovely partner in crime, HenryG, and some other guy named Janko, who's joined us, flown in for the week. Guys, really quickly before I get your thoughts, this league, this structure, I think this is awesome. It's really built for long-term stability. It has a lot of invested interest from the teams. They have an option of being co-owners in the league, so they can join in, they can become part of this. Again, have a representative both from the teams themselves and the players on the committee of the league, so decisions can be made. Some other leagues don't necessarily have that sort of influence, and it really, and not only that, there's terms and conditions which must be met from each team in order to be a part of the league. So it does create a sense of stability and structure that builds long term. It's
kind of cool. It's actually taking some core values from like real sports now. It's not just like how it's been for the last 5 or 6 years and everything's kind of making our own rules up as we go along. The players have an invested interest throughout the league, and it's not only stability for the players but for the viewers as well. We know we've got the consistency throughout the year, and it means we're actually going to get some like real sports level entertainment coming through. And the prize money on the line, it's so cool we finally got to this level. It's really exciting.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what are your thoughts?
It also brings another dimension to the players themselves in terms of competition, right? You're not just fighting for prize money, you also get a part of the revenue of the whole league. And for sports fans out there from Europe, it's a system that Premier League uses in football, and for the North American fans, it's something that NBA uses as their model. So definitely interesting to have it in esports as well. I think it shows how much how we're evolving as well, coming up with these different ways to run leagues.
And I think the coolest thing for me is the player and team representation on the committee, because that's something that we do see issues arise from time to time. And unfortunately, I'll give you scheduling examples. Unfortunately, some other leagues, it's just they put the foot down, that's it. There's no, there's no give and take. There's no middle ground. So I do really like it. Again, stability, structure, that's the two things that I'm interested in, and making sure this is a long-term investment. But I mean, as we say, we've got really good teams in this league. We're starting today. We've got our North American division tonight, but we're starting today with our European division, which does bring up 3 best-of-3s on the day. We start off with Astralis and Mousesports. They're almost ready. They're in the server. I can actually see it right now. But not only that, we've got teams like Fnatic. We've got NIP. G2, which qualified last evening, took the last spot in the league. So, again, some really good depth in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some great storylines coming up. Lots of team changes happening since the last major. We've seen lots of shuffles going on as well. Lots of unanswered questions as well. Obviously, like we have FaZe in the league. We're not really sure where they're going to be going with this one. So it's going to be really cool to see how this all unfolds and how these teams will approach this league going forward.
So just quickly, again, our schedule, as mentioned, Astralis, Mousesports, Virtus.pro, play off against Dignitas. Virtus.pro have been struggling severely throughout the year on online portions. I think the major was an improvement. I think Katowice had some signs of life, but still some online issues. And Dignitas has picked up a number of wins already this season against them. So we have to keep an eye on that. And then Envious and G2, again, the team that just qualified yet. This is it. Bragging rights. Who's the best French team? I'm putting my money on G2 early.
I would agree. Both of them obviously picked up LDLC players recently. There's been a massive French revolution again, I guess, like changing everything around and some key players being removed. So Envious, still at the major, looked very poor indeed, even with the addition of Devil coming in. But last night, G2 actually looking much stronger with body. They're actually some of the best CS we've seen him play in a while, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, they definitely look rejuvenated. I mean, the players themselves individually. But it's always like that once you make a roster change, there's always that honeymoon phase. And I said that the verdict is still out for them, obviously. They haven't been properly tested yet. It's going to take some time before we can really tell how this change is going to work. But I'm really looking forward to the second game versus Pro Dignitas because, as you mentioned, VP has been in a slump, but more so online than on LAN. I mean, in ESL Pro League, they're at the bottom of the standings, which I think no one expected, even with their bad form. So this is basically a fresh start for them, a different league, also a huge league where maybe they can, make amends for their poor online play so far.
Well, that's the thing, because in their other leagues, they've kind of written off the season already. But now they've got a fresh start. I think that's a blank slate for them to build on. That's an important thing to note. Again, they're a team with tons of experience. There was rumors of roster changes.
There's always rumors of roster changes. Those guys, right? It never seems to come in.
Well, that's the thing. There's been several different rumors throughout the last sort of 2 years that we've kind of had this roster. Again, the longest standing roster of current pro-level Counter-Strike, of top-level Counter-Strike. Na'Vi comes to mind, but they had the StarX and Flamey switch, which oddly enough we're going to see StarX back in at Malmo. But for me, I mean, the fact that they made it back in and kept their legendary spot might give them, a little bit more breadth on the roster that they have.
I think the problem with VP right now is that last year, they also had slumps, not as big of they had in the beginning of this year. But there was also that, surprise factor with them. They could always come in and sweep everyone and win a tournament, like it happened in Dubai at that ESCA tournament and so on. They had a really strong showing in Cologne at the major. Basically lost the game against Fnatic more than Fnatic won that game with that anti-eco play on Inferno and so on. I don't see that type of a VP yet this year, right? Yeah, they have some, decent showings here and there. Yes, they managed to get into top 8 at the major.
And they did take a map off Luminosity, who went on to win it. So
the thing is as well, though, they got out of the groups of Katowice. They made the stage there.
And got wrecked.
They got
Fnatic.
wrecked there, but still, like, if you compare it to like teams like Envious, teams were still saying, obviously they're in even more of a slump, I'd say, at this point. They're still getting into deeper stages of the tournament. Like the online forms are abysmal, but still when it comes to the lands, they are able to perform. We still haven't seen them reach that kind of level we're used to when they're making like semi-finals and stuff. But I wouldn't say it's completely over yet. They've still got some work to do, but I think they few more twists and turns just yet.
That's the problem, I feel, that VP is not a team that's going to be only satisfied with, making top 8, even maybe top 4 here and there. Unlike maybe some other teams who are perfectly satisfied at just qualifying for the next major and, keep that money rolling.
Yes,
everything.
indeed.
I think that for them, it's a serious issue. And if they don't have a strong result on LAN, even if they make, top 8 again at Malmo next week and so on, I feel that they need a win or at least a final for them not to make a roster change.
Well, we'll see if that does pay out. Again, I do believe I've lost. Yes, here we go. This is what I was expecting. We are going to look at the full teams. As mentioned, we've got teams like Fnatic in this league who will be, as we know now, playing without Olaf Meister for at least a period of time. Plessen is going to step in on his behalf due to the wrist injury that Olaf is sustaining. But NIP, Virtus Pro, which we see today, Na'Vi, we also will see a little bit later on. But Envy's the other one we didn't talk about a little bit in depth. We will at some point today because they do play, but they are also, I think, in a bigger slump out of the two.
Yeah.
And then, of course, G2, which qualified, Dignitas, FaZe, and Astralis versus Mousesports. That's where we start. Guys, we've got the maps. We've seen them already via social media, but we'll bring up the full veto process here in a second. There's our current standings. They don't mean much because obviously we haven't played any games, but we do have an interesting matchup in the fact that Astralis has been playing decent Counter-Strike, did have the same issue at this major, unfortunately, that they had at previous ones. They choked out on the semis, but they do go up against Mousesports, who have been trying to make changes and revitalize themselves.
Yeah, this is the thing with Astralis, right? Like, up until the semi-finals, they look like they're playing godlike CS. They're having in Katowice, so they go 5-0. Look like this is definitely the tournament for them. As soon as it comes down to crunch time, they kind of drop off a little bit. At that time, and then even the Counterpit finals, they looked amazing all the way through. Get against Na'Vi, and then it's key players not showing up. It's not necessarily the whole team crumbling. It's just like your star players don't arrive on the server. Like you have dupreeh and Device just go AFK essentially, going like 1 for 10, 1 for 9.
Yeah.
That's when you realize, well, if you're looking so strong throughout this tournament, what's the mental block? What's going on there? Happened at the major again. Once again, looked incredibly strong. They knocked out Fnatic, the world's number 1 team, convincingly as well. It wasn't even a close game. They stomped them.
Yeah, and karrigan even called a timeout to let it sink in.
They absolutely decimated them. And then we get to the semi-finals again, and then what happens? It's just nothing turns up.
And you would have thought Na'Vi, based on the fact that Guardian wasn't playing his God tier CS, that was their best chance. But we do have the map. Well, we did have the map veto up on the screen. We start off with Dust 2. Thoughts on that, Janko?
I think it's a great map for Mouse. I think it's their strongest map. Luckily for them, also Astralis vetoes Cobblestone, which Mouse thinks they can play, but they really can't.
I agree.
I think they made a big blunder at the major, picking it against NIP instead of picking Dust 2, which was open. But never mind. I mean, Mouse is struggling. They're contemplating roster changes as well with some of the players in their team. But Dust 2 is definitely their best map. They had some crazy comebacks on that map.
Yep.
Beat Fnatic on it as well in online play, and it's also a map that chrisJ really enjoys playing. Right, and he's a really important player of the team, obviously being a primary operator. But it seems that we're into the pistol round, so I'll let you guys take over.
We are underway. No, I'm interested to see how this works out, but it is going to be Mousesports starting out on the CT side. And it is basically the standard buy. 3 armor players, 2 utility players on either side. We've already seen some of the nades be thrown out from the Ts, but yet not much ground made.
Well, it is going to be Astralis on the T side here, Mousesports on the CT. You can see no one's really made any aggression play yet, but NiKo is towards short. It looks like that's where the first confrontation will be coming in. Because Astralis, so you have got long control as well, so a pincer coming in, but chrisJ takes down Device to open things up.
Goes forced back off of this, tries to jump back down for the headshot box, but he's caught immediately by dupreeh. NiKo falls, though. Spiidi and chrisJ find answering frags, which does actually give the advantage to Mousesports in this situation. But Xyp9x, he's going to drop it long. It's all left to karrigan, and bomb plant has to be the goal because they're going to want guns out as early as possible. He manages it, but Denis immediately there. No kit. Oh, I take it back. Denis did pick up the kit. So they are going to be fine regardless was the point. But this is, again, karrigan does well in that situation because now they can buy on round 3.
This is the thing, right? As soon as he knew he was dead, you could tell he wasn't even going to challenge once he got the bomb down. He knew he was just gone at that point. An A split coming in from Astralis with chrisJ stepping up pretty massively there. I think he got 3 kills in the end of all headshots as well. So very impressive stuff from him. Like you said, Astralis do get the bomb down. It's very common. We'll see teams, especially when they only get 2 kills, will just be buying up in the 3rd round here. So pretty much a full eco coming in. We'll have P250s and Glocks. They've got a flashbang. That normally means just go towards mid doors, try and flash through, have some close range confrontations, see what you can bring. But we have got some long control here. Astralis Dipper. I'm going to assume that's dupreeh.
Yes, dupreeh.
Cool name. Why not?
Why not? At least we don't have Deva on the server, right?
So there we go, a couple of frags coming in. It should be a throwaway round, essentially. Astralis will be very lucky if they can get a single kill here, which they won't. It's going to be a clean sweep from Mousesports, 2-0. This is where things get interesting, Matt. They know they're going up against AKs now, so they'll be keeping the MP9s, the UMPs, and the scouts
Yeah,
as well.
the scout's the curious one for me. I mean, Chris is obviously going to want to get to an AWP first. So him reinvesting.
Matt, the thing is, he was actually one of the most deadly scout users in the world.
I totally agree.
I have to say, operative word was being there. Like, he's in a not a prime form right now, I'd say, what we've seen in classic chrisJ.
I think as well they know that it's going to be a 3rd round bye, which means that there's going to be no AWP against them, so he can justify keeping it in this situation. But interestingly, Device does go for a scout against him, which I think actually balances it. If they had gone 5 AKs and gone for execution, I'm not sure that scout would have been as viable. But Xyp9x is going to find Spiidi at long. That gives up a massive amount of map control. And now, as dupreeh finds NiKo as well, there's a huge amount of difference.
Well, here we go. It's going to be 5-on-3. The first 2 frags going in favour of Astralis. Have got that long control, but we have got Denis fighting back. The reaction comes in. He pushed in towards B tunnels. Textbook play from the CTs. They do manage to salvage a frag here as well. Done a little bit of damage, actually quite a lot onto dupreeh. So Astralis still have a heavy advantage with the long control as well. They will be making their way up to the site, but a boost coming in from the CTs, trying to challenge.
Flashed off of it. There it is. Chris with that deadly scout goes for the jump, but it's Device and dupreeh that hold the angles. No one to get a clean retake. And Denis is going to try and be sneaky about this. Definitely spotted one player dropping in that massive gap in the smoke. It flash in, finds Device, knows they're on the platform, and Denis, he's brought this down to a 1-on-1. dupreeh, extremely low on HP. He's going to Molotov off toward the firebox, the quad position, but he doesn't realize he's so close, but he hits it regardless. And NiKo has brought this. With the contribution of the assist, Denis has brought this back with a massive retake. I was going to say, I said Denis the whole time, but that is a massive play for him.
I like the way you tried to save that as well, just with an assist. He didn't get 3 kills, of course, but no, Denis, absolutely massive stuff from him. A lot of people have been talking about his future within the team, and what a clutch for him to actually step up here and bring them in a 3-on-1 situation. That's a pretty sick clutch considering the circumstance as well. Coming from CT spawn against Astralis with a bomb down. That's going to be a big moral advantage for Mousesports going forward as well. They've now got the double AWP set up, and they've actually forced Astralis back on towards the pistols as well. So very impressive stuff there from Denis. That's an impressive clutch, to say the least. As we go into round number 4 now, you can see this should be another round for Mousesports, but what a way to kick things off here. When a round they had Scouts, MP9 and UMP against AKs, they come back strong.
And that was a big round as well. I mean, Denis was smart to let the first player jump across.
Yeah.
The flash out was perfect. Checks to the right, knows that's going to be the last player in that position. But NiKo now, this time, all on his own. No Denis to help. I can get this call right. Is going to take down 2 from the car. And we know that it's Astralis that have coined this style of meta, but there's the drop. And now there's no one there to cover. This late play from CT spawn means that they can't rotate in time. And chrisJ smoked off. He's trying to pre-fire into elevator, but there's no one there to be found. And NiKo's got to fall a long way back off of this. So instead he puts his attention onto the long doors, waits for the retake potential to become viable, and they give up the plant in doing so. But conceding the plant isn't that much of an issue because there was going to be a buy in the next round. Regardless, until Device hits Denis. Good Deagle shot, goes for a long play though with that Deagle, and unfortunately the AWP still in prime position to take him down.
Yeah, well it was, oh my God, Xyp9x actually making this a little bit more interesting. I was about to say, it's actually very nice work from Mousesports there to be so disciplined and wait for their teammates to rotate in and make sure they're pinstering the bomb site with numbers instead of challenging 1-on-X situations. But it was actually pretty cool from Astralis to get that many frags. They managed to pick up 3 and a bomb plan as well. So considering they only had pistols to work with there, that's actually a really cool round from them. But we go into the next round now, number 5. Double AWP still for Mousesports, managed to pick those up. So although their economy was dented slightly there, they're still going to have a very strong buy, obviously, going into this one. So now it's a chance for Device to step up. Can he make this AWP work for them? So far, it's a 4-0 deficit. and a chance to really get something going here. Smoke comes in, and I think there's actually 3 players crossing towards B here, so maybe a little bit more aggression. They know this is the first real gun round going into this one.
And that smoke's going to make it impossible to read that 3-player cross.
B tunnels.
You're dead right. They push through. Denis gets the kill again. The double up setup never spotted, and Device has to find an opening, as you mentioned, needs to find the angle. Right now, he's got his attention out toward long. They're going to leave it to cajun just to hold on to mid, but they lost that entire map control over at the B tunnel. So cajun's actually just got to watch to make sure no one's going to push through the spiral staircase. And that means there's not much attention out toward the mid doors. Not only that, having gotten that early pick, Mousesports has changed from that 3-man setup as chrisJ is going to take down cajun again at middle. They've switched from that 3-man setup, bringing him back over toward A. So even though they've already got that kill, they funneled them back over to that side of the map, Mousesports is already there. So this is a really good read on their CT side.
Yeah, really cool stuff so far. It's going to be a 5-on-3. Astralis still fancying their chances. Going for the long crossover here. Because NiKo, I was about to say, easy shot. He should be hitting that all day long. Does manage to make up for a headshot on towards ZipX now. Just Device and karrigan remain. They do get the bomb down on towards the site, but this is an almost impossible clutch situation. They're going to have to step up massively here. It'd be a huge blunder from Mousesports to face. Denis does get the first kill, and that should be it here. But karrigan still making a convincing case here for Astralis. Bomb ticking away now. CT's still pretty far away. Molotov's out of position right now towards short, so karrigan is buying time slowly but surely. He makes this frag. It's all of a sudden gets very dangerous for Mousesports. 2-on-1 now, and karrigan in strong position.
Needs to find the read though, and the fact they're pushing up does spot Spiidi now, who can't find the angle. In turn, and it's the M4 this time that karrigan is buying is so significant, but there is a kit. And they will have just enough time by about 3 to 4 seconds. I'd say about 2 to 3 seconds in that case. But regardless, that was well done from karrigan to even get it that far in the beginning. And you said it, that Molotov.
Yeah, just locked him out. But it's saying Mousesports are looking much more disciplined in their clutch situation. It's been a problem for them before, like players just running into situations without really thinking about it and not making for their teammates. Although that was close, that was almost the correct thing to do for Mousesports. Make sure they had a very high percentage chance of winning it once the players did arrive. It did come down to like the last few seconds, but they made sure they had numbers against karrigan there. And even though he got a couple of frags, they eventually won the round. So 5-0 now. Mousesports looking incredibly strong here in the opening segments of the series. We have got Astralis with the buy coming in. Device back on towards the AWP, but this double AWP setup from Mousesports working very well so far. We saw that aggression last round into B tunnels. Getting that first pick is surprising Astralis. That's what you need to be doing as a CT side and does too. Take down the first player, stop any execution that the Danes had in mind. And so far so good for Mousesports. We're going to round number 6 now. You can see it's a much slower paced setup from Astralis. Potentially setting up for a long retake here. 4 players outside the long doors.
Smoke off. ZipX not going to be affected by that. It's just for safety's sake. Thrown out from long. That's over toward the car that you deploy that initial smoke from. On to headshot to try and give Device a chance to peek under it toward the doors and also give them catwalk access. But no one's really taking advantage of that right now. They still want to seem interested, or still seem interested, in long position, but Spiidi's inside the pit. Good flash out, goes for the pop. 2 players make it over the nade. Will do decent damage. dupreeh down to 25. But more importantly, Device has found NiKo, which does start to open things up. If they can secure this kill onto the pit, which they've smoked off to do so, it's going to be all too easy for them to start executing. Good play from Next, though, but now he's trapped toward the car. 3 players peeking him. That's no man's land. The good news is they've doubled this position. They may not account for the fact that Denis is also in the corner, and it could catch them out as chrisJ starts to claw back the deficit. Back to a 3 versus 2. That Molotov, what was that thrown for?
I'm not really sure, but
I think that was misthrown. They were trying to get that toward car.
Yeah, Denis has got a decent position here, but it looks like they will be checking it. He's going to be flashing out, taking down. Not really much he can do there. It was a bit of a Hail Mary play, but chrisJ now coming to life from short does manage to take down dupreeh, and now it's a 2-on-1. He's got a real chance to do something with this. The bomb will be planted. This kill means everything. It's going to be Device taking, and Astralis finally arrive on the board there. We saw what they did there. We saw at the beginning they were going for that long retake. They did the smokes towards the long corner. That kind of segregates the player towards the pit. We saw him just cowering towards the bottom of it there. Not really much you can do in that scenario. You have to hope you can take one down with you. But when Astralis playing as effectively as that, flashbangs and smokes and molotoving every single area, it's very difficult to even find one. So even though Mousesports were up 5-0, Matt, you can see they're onto an EK now. I showed you how close these rounds have been. Lots of clutches, and there's those bits and pieces, those kills Astralis were finding, contributes massively. Going to round number 7.
And that should give it away. Astralis, if they didn't, and obviously we know they are good mathematicians and understand the game mechanics enough to know that this should be an equal based on the deficits, but that pistol from chrisJ confirms it. Look at the aggression though. Mousesports they're not willing to sit back with these pistols. They're taking the fight. 3 players go up catwalk. They have got a man advantage in this, not to mention a Molotov that's taking damage off dupreeh and Device. They're going to go down. dupreeh stuck in the site, and the AK picked up by chrisJ's made all the difference.
I'm not really sure what's going on right now.
This is going to reset Astralis as well.
Of course, but I have no idea why they're committing to this. They're only up against pistols.
Bombs
they're running in one by
now.
one, running through Molotovs. Here's a 4-on-2 now. They still have a chance, but that's going to deplete it. As next gets the head on to Zipex, just going to be Device remaining now. This round's over.
Wow.
Astralis, I would say that's a huge blunder for them. We talked about this yesterday, Matt. When you are up against pistols and you don't have to commit to bomb sites at that point, they weren't even pushing into the B site. They worked out those Deagles and PT-50s there. A Molotov was dropped and Device was standing in it, trying to get the kill. They got apprehensive and stifled and weren't sure which way to go with it.
I think when they lost mid, they realized or thought they might not have had an access plan back to A, but again, they can still slow it down with the guns.
But we talk about this time and time again. Committing yourself to the tightest choke points in the map is just not recommended when you're going up against the pistols there. But Mousesports, you're absolutely right. Happened in the reset here. It looks like a force buy coming in from Astralis though. Device with the AWP and karrigan on the AK, but it's not going to matter for karrigan. chrisJ punishes him straight away, gets an opening pick once again.
Smartly, dupreeh gets that back though. Realizes how far away that AWP was. There's no one there to cover off the AK-47, so they will at least pick that up. But what a gift for Mousesports. 3 AKs picked up in the last round, then AWP as well. Don't even have to buy after being on an eco, and they get a reset in all at once. This is ideal. This is so perfect. Yeah. Throws the AK back. They want the AWP once more. dupreeh will get it, but loses his HP in doing so, and he throws it over to cajun, who's more ample on the weapon, but they still have a massive, massive deficit to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. This is when chrisJ is most deadly. When he's in the zone on Dust 2, Janko mentioned it before we went live. This is his playground. This is the map he's most famous for absolutely wrecking people on, and so far so good for him, finding opening picks left, right, and center. And we'll see what he can do here. As it is the 5-on-3, Astralis still have weapons here. cajunb because everybody on the AWP. This pick could come in from, great position, but that shot from NiKo is insane. Does manage to take down 2 of the AK-47, looking for the 3rd, and he gets it, of course. NiKo, one of the most talented players on the planet right now, punishes Astralis, 7-1. That force fight doesn't work out for them. And Astralis looking a little bit lost right now, Matt.
Yeah, this is not at all what you would expect to see from Astralis. They'll be in the office, the Astralis headquarters, where they do play together. They'll be training to Malmo. It's not far. It's just across the water from Copenhagen, for those of you who are unaware of its geographic location. That's a hard word. But it's, you'd think that this week after the major and the amount of effort they'd be putting toward Malmo, this is not something you'd expect to see a lost-looking team. You'd expect to see them all on the same page with this sort of timing in the schedule.
Well, it's still early days yet. Astralis is definitely a team that can bounce back. Dust 2, anything can happen. But it's going to be NiKo this round, swarming the A bomb site with the Glock somehow working out for Zipex there, but the frags have been recovered. chrisJ continuing his strong form here. That's 2 kills for him. Make it 3 here to finish things off. 8-1. And chrisJ must be on a monster amount of frags right now. He's on 14 after 9 rounds.
No big deal.
That's pretty godlike from him. We'll see if he can continue here. We'll have a look at the money coming in from Astralis. No AWP this time. Device 5 for 8. Has found some picks, but it's cajunb who's lacking so far, 1 for 9.
To be fair, cajunb's T-sides on this map are some of the worst. He went 0-15 at PGL the time they won the championship, but his CT sides always seem to make up for it. And because of that, and because if you look at the statistics, they normally start, as we see Spiidi with some aggression toward the speed tunnels, this should be pushed from B as well. If they can get both players in and catch out both Astralis players, yeah, now they'll go. After that first pick, dupreeh's going to be trapped.
2 HP for dupreeh.
Just to finish the point, because they often start CT, you don't notice that cajun's usually lackluster in these positions. So that's something that people need to make note of. dupreeh, that is desperate. Loses catwalk, thinks he has to run through the smoke, even though Device is there to cover him off at top mid. There's no reason to do that play.
That didn't really make sense. 2 HP, running for the doors with your knife out. Yeah, I don't really know what the objective was there, but anyway.
Unless he assumed that because catwalk and B was so heavily pushed, there'd be no one.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
that's careless.
You don't run through with your knives out, right? Like, I know you're trying to get through quickly, but still, there's more than likely to be rotations or people there. But regardless, Zipex the last player remaining, and it looks like Astralis getting locked down every single time. This time it's Spiidi. This goes lower B. That frag should be obtainable. Most teams will be flashing into that and taking it together. A refrag should be coming in. dupreeh did find it eventually. He goes down to 2 HP. And you saw how much he panicked at that point. And Mousesports playing this perfectly so far. As soon as a frag comes in, they're reacting, showing aggression on other points in the map, getting frags almost everywhere. And it's chrisJ on 16. He keeps adding to his total. NiKo's having an absolute blinder of a game as well. The score now is going to be 9-1. As Astralis back onto another partial buy here. Upgraded pistols. Ooh. And chrisJ waiting for that suicide play. Narrowly misses out on the second as well. Decent grenade comes in. There's a lot of damage onto cajunb.
This is just so good for Mousesports. It's aggressive, it's passive, it holds the angles, it blocks them out. cajunb separated with a Molotov. NiKo's going to turn around. This could be a 3K. Spiidi just stole that. All right, it looked like NiKo had it. He did do decent damage. He gets the assist on it, but regardless, this is just domination right now from Mousesports. 4 players stay alive again. 10-1, the scoreline for the German side.
Well, obviously, Mousesports now are pushing Astralis onto maximum loss bonus. They do get decent money coming in. Device back on the AWP, but 4 AKs, they haven't got full utility here. They've got 1 Molotov to play with. Dust 2 can be a very effective map to use the Molotovs on. We'll see what Device can do here. Looking for the cross shot, but got to be smoked out for now. No, oh, it's a change of pace actually. We can see chrisJ boost up the short. This is what's so good about them right now. When you get in this zone, you have that confidence. You're willing to face all these different angles. You see a lot of teams struggle this kind of concept of actually going for the faces at the start, but this time it's Device that takes control. Takes down chrisJ, is expecting the confidence to come in, but NiKo, what he should be doing, getting the refrag straight away, and it's cajunb to give it away by himself. It's careless.
Hey, NiKo's crossfire placement, so perfect there too.
Yeah.
cajunb never stood a chance walking around that corner. dupreeh, he has pushed up long, hugging the wall to try and get closer as the smokes come in. Molotov as well, but it's Spiidi's position as he just sits in behind the boxes. It's a matter of timing this, and the Molotov isn't going to reach him, but dupreeh doesn't count for it. Jumps up, great shot on NiKo as well, allowing the bomb to go down in the hands of karrigan. And they can just try and hold this off. Finally, Astralis, the chance to a second round. Denis is going to swap to the AWP. Fancies his chances with it more. Molotov missed thrown, though, from his teammate.
That's the end of that round.
Yeah, that's it. They got to fall away.
I think at that point, obviously, they couldn't really win that round, but they want to take as many players as they can down with them. They saw how low the money was going into this. If they could have found 2 or 3 kills, that'd have been excellent. But a misplaced Molotov does.
I'd love to hear the comms on that. Like, all right, I'm going to Molotov Goose. There's one there. And he was right. He was low. dupreeh would have had him.
Yep.
And then, me too. I'll throw. What are you doing?
Fullback, retreat. Well, it's going to be Denis to pick up an all frag here, and they will be saving weapons. So Astralis finally arriving here as they get their second round on the board. But it's like they're doing, having to work too hard for these frags. So this is, we talked about Mousesports kind of changing the pace, going aggressive. Their Device holding towards middle. It's a decent read from them. They need to start finding some more rounds here. This is another reset potential coming in. When I say that, obviously the loss bonus builds up. That's a maximum of 5 rounds when you get $3,400. As soon as you win 1 round, that is depleted. You go back to winning $1,400 each and every round after that. So 10-2 now. Mousesports have a real chance to almost secure this half if they win this one as we go into number 13.
Interesting to see them using that smoke to get across. I mean, it's effective, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people go for that nade. Oh, look at this push, though. The trade kill, Spiidi on to karrigan. So once more, they want that long early. They're going to lose it, but it's a 1-for-1. They can start to slow this down. This time, dupreeh, no knives out, not as quickly. He'll be a little more calculated. He's going to try and cover off CT. Smoke late. Chris can't get the angle on it, and now it's the pinch. 2 on to B. 2 through tunnels, 2 through mid. That's dupreeh already in the window, but that should be traded. Where's the player coming through the tunnels? It is going to be Xyp9x just in time. Throws the bomb, and Device can fall back now with the AWP. And there's just 2 left. So 13 rounds in. It looks like it will be 10-3 split. Barring any magic, cajunb is low enough that if chrisJ can find an early pick with this AWP, it is a possibility. There's kits on both players, flashes on either of them, so they've got an option, but good Molotov to come out late, and that's going to do it. Grab the AWP and run back.
Yeah, they got thrown into his hands by the grenade as well. Looks like Spiidi will be going down here. 2 HP, trying to get a frag before he gets dropped, but I don't think that's going to happen for him. Position given away, but dead now, of course, as he gets taken down as spawn.
I was going to go back. A lot of teams will use the nade to the mid doors, and the animation of the nade, just sort of the dust and Dupreeh's throwing me off. The debris that comes out, the animation's enough to let you cross, but where they're crossing too, every time, Device hasn't even had a chance to pick down the mid.
Let me give you an insight to why they might do that. It's basically, so if you throw it in a specific way, the AWPer still has an opportunity to, the CT AWPer can AWP over the top of it. So it means if you're consistent with that smoke every single round, he has the option right now, if it's very close, the AWP can stand at the back and then he can mix it up and go for the face at the start. So obviously it's...
Ooh, this is big though. That's big to catch out next. Denis comes back and gets 2 because dupreeh thinks that there's an opening based on that. What it does do is, despite that they lose a second man in middle, that's the second man at a B pulled away, so karrigan can just walk down the tunnels. And we were caught off by that because you were still making the point. I didn't. That's the fastest we've seen Astralis come out yet.
Yeah, we'll go back to that later. But yeah, it's going to be a 4-on-3 now. The bomb will be planted. They've smoked up the doors. Still a man advantage to Mousesports. They have got kits and incendiaries as well and smoke. So if they were to smoke off the tunnels here and retake together, I think that's probably going to be the best option for them. That's the smoke towards tunnels from chrisJ. And now they can actually go for the retake right now.
NiKo is going to try and get above the box to see over the smoke, but that smoke's gone. It's now a Molotov. Gives him more vision, but as a team, less access. And as soon as they shuffle toward the window, which is open, it's open for a reason because it's trapped. It's covered off by Device. Although after that, he does go down. It's all Astralis. So they've got a chance. If they can close this out now, with a 5th round, 10-5. We know their CT side is strong enough that they could actually make this a game.
Yeah, this is getting more competitive now. Decent rounds coming in from Astralis, back to the basics really, doing defaults at the start, going to mid-splits when they find a pick on the map. So it's looking much better, but still a lot of work to do here. Definitely need this last round. They're going with a double AWP setup this time. We have Device and karrigan. And you can see the buy for the CT is not fantastic. NiKo on towards the scout, chrisJ on the AWP. karrigan's going for that fast pick as well and gets a collateral. Fully blind, why not? Gets the double. And now it's a serious chance here for Astralis to take the last round.
That's sick. That is exactly what they need. Now it's funny how things can turn so quickly. The momentum in this game, Mouse had so much confidence in their stance and their style of play. And as soon as Astralis get rolling, everything they try just gets shut down. And it was a change of pace. Astralis, again, that time, going a little bit quicker, get toward that long corner, and then they try and take over mid. Next does claw back at least a kill, but down to 48 HP. He's going to have to be extremely careful, not to mention he himself does not have a kit. Now, there will be one out toward long where those two members fell, but it's a long way from the bomb site, and it's completely cut off. And the fact that karrigan is still staring down to CT, that's where next will die, and it's all left to Denis.
Well, there it is. Astralis take the 5th round and the final one of that to the half. So I have to say, though, even though Mousesports had a great half there, next, this is one of the maps we expect him to go godlike on. This is supposed to be his home ground. Like, there's been a lot of discussions about him recently, especially on analyst test, as to where his form has gone from mid-2015. He looked amazing.
And
then,
Penta days, too.
Yeah, he looked so strong. He's one of the hottest German properties, and now it seems like he's pretty lackluster. He has had a couple of good tournaments, but this has been a very quiet game for him. But regardless, Mousesports do win the half 10-5, and Astralis with the word today.
Just to highlight on a couple of good tournaments, at Katowice, I think his form was a little more of what we used to see, but you're right. In general, this has been
just Dust too. Like, you expect him to go huge, but there we go. It's NiKo, of course, with his trademarked Desert Eagle on the T side of Dust 2. No armor required. Just a big gun for him. It's very unorthodox. Anyone who's new to watching the game, it's a big balls player. It's not really conventional whatsoever, but he seems to make it work every single time. karrigan now aggressive towards the long doors. We can see Astralis will be setting up in pretty standard positions here. 2 towards long, actually throwing heavy presence towards middle, and Mousesports very slow default here. They're waiting for any sort of CT aggression to come in. Spiidi with the smoke and 2 flashbangs. And the rest of his teammates on towards armor as well, so we'll see what they bring to the table here. It looks like potentially a B split coming in. When you have one smoke, you want to smoke towards city spawn, flash in, try and take the challenges towards mid, but you can see Astralis are set up for that.
And NiKo not going for early aggression, but is going to be using his Deagle no armor. This is the confidence buy we often talk about, where he just sits and waits. And we did see Mousesport trying to sit back and trying to allow that push-up catwalk, but nothing's come in of this so far. What it does do is, as they've relinquished this, knowing that there's no aggression, that they can't find the early pick, they're going to try and evaluate the B site, which is quite smart, because if they can rush through these tunnels, it's just dupreeh.
You'll see them now smoke in front of the tunnels and take away the vision from the CTs. One flash will come through, and they'll burst through, but dupreeh knows how to handle this situation. We'll see how the T's approaches now.
Handling it, he may, in terms of dodging and staying alive, but needs to get kills. He finds one. chrisJ's got the response device, not through the doors, and he's going to be smoked off. So they use their smoke a little bit later that time, having pushed dupreeh so far back. As the bomb goes in, the response is swift, because Device, staying alive, staying efficient, gets another kill onto NiKo. And there is still a kit in the hands of Zipex, but cajunb's fallen, and Nex is well aware of the fact that karrigan is trying to take the tunnels. He has to turn back, though, because his teammates need his help inside of the site. Not Spiidi, though. He's got 2. Down goes Zipex, and Nex goes back to close out karrigan.
There it is. After we call Nex out, he finds 2 very influential kills towards the tunnels there. But as I was saying, with Mousesports, with that smoke, I would assume they'd actually smoke the tunnels there and take away that problem of getting taken down with the USP. But like you said, a late smoke towards the doors there, and a couple of frags coming in from Astralis. Looked like they had that under control. The chrisJ and Nex to take them down in the end. And a much needed pistol round for Mousesports there. Getting himself ever closer. It's not going to be a force buy from Astralis this round, which I like. Considering the scoreline, they want to make sure they go into the first gun nice and healthy. But kills coming in for Spiidi. He gets a double with the UMP towards long. And karrigan trying to do what he can. He does decent damage, but it's not going to be quite enough here. 5 versus 2, dupreeh and Device remain, and that's the round going in favour of Mousesports here. But this was almost a certainty considering the buy.
It's just going to be pretty straightforward in terms of the way the anti-eco unfolds. NiKo not taking any chances, goes through the smoke. As the AK could have covered off that long position in dupreeh. They know he's sufficient with the Deagle, so they instantly will put out a secondary smoke, not to allow him a chance to hurt the economy whatsoever. NiKo gets the 1 kill into Device. It's all on dupreeh, who thankfully, for your sake, Henry, as well as mine and all the viewers at home, has changed his name.
Has he really? That's nice.
He changed it back in the mid part of the first half, but I needed something to fill in the space there because it was pretty obvious he was going to die, so that's what I went with.
Well, I think that's the best way to do it. Like, we need to have some consistency here. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, Matt.
Actually, yeah, I think that, like, it's fine if you want to go pub or whatever with a different name, and I get it. It's stylish. You're having some fun. But when it comes to League and there's viewers that maybe don't follow it as much, did that actually, I thought that might have hit. It didn't. Regardless, I think it's for the viewer's sake, you should always be using your correct name.
Well, that's a discussion for another day. We can see Astralis now going to be on to a full eco. Should be another round, almost certainly going in the favour of Mousesports. First kill from Denis comes in with the MP7, takes down karrigan, and Spiidi edging his way towards long. Should almost have this kill without a problem. They've be taken down. Zipex now trying to see what he can with the silence USP, but so much work to be done. Bomb to be planted. They actually do find one towards Denis, but we dealt with himself, now device with the PT50 and an MP7. Not just yet. Does decent damage on the chrisJ. Should assume he'll be falling back. Doesn't want to give his kill away.
Fast for distance, but Spiidi walks out behind. There was not much of a chance for him to do anything with that, and there won't be a Jaden round because they've already dropped the SMGs. They've elected to buy immediately into the rifle. So the fact that chrisJ will hold the scout again, you mentioned it, world class with that weapon.
Yeah,
but everything else is a full buy essentially.
On Dust 2 especially, there's lots of jump shot potentials on this map. So
he loves the 8 ramp.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously a T side, you don't really have that unless you get the bomb down, but we'll see what he can do with this. Going to be option. I guess there kind of is a little bit of Jaden there, keeping the scout, but
just a little bit. A little bit of shitting through maybe, but it is going to be a good shot from karrigan to start it. But instantly with 3 players already out at long, Spiidi taking that back starts to be concerning because Zipex has to force back down toward the CT spawn. They've pulled cajunb app away from this onto the platform itself, so they've given up a lot of territory to work with. Mouse is waiting for a counter push, expecting that they'll likely, and this is actually in a direct response to how they play this. They're expecting that they're going to want to push that back, take long back, and anchor it out so that they can get cajun toward the car. But Astralis is actually being wise to the fact that there was so much aggression, and this is even better. dupreeh through the tunnels, gets there for free, no one watching it, and now they know for sure, all right, they're in mid, hold your A positions, I've got B covered off.
Nex was waiting for that push though. I'm not sure how he didn't get that kill. He seemed like he had the jump on dupreeh all day long. He was given a second to actually hit the shot as well. But there it is. It's going to be dupreeh that picks it up, and now it's a 4-on-3. NiKo and chrisJ holding towards long. We can see what they can do here. Going to be all 3 players, in fact, for Mousesports.
This is a bit too complacent though. The problem with Astralis, despite getting that kill at middle, dupreeh actually went back toward B, and they've given up so much space and toward the catwalk position. They did have a player pushed up, but if they'd gone mid, if they'd worked out long and taken cajun down, it would have been a very hard position for them to be in. The device walks back up, double smoke here, no flash to push him in just yet. Bomb was thrown over, but didn't quite make it. So Denis, a few steps back, buys more time to grab it. 20 seconds and they will get the plant, but NiKo is going to try and hold this off. Catwalk, cajunb is the one that's very low. 7 HP for him to work with, but they're going to go for this boost. Device already up, spots one on top of it, but they see him above the smoke. The call's been made, and Denis hits the shot, and it's all Mousesports afterwards. NiKo finds one, and chrisJ chimes in. Denis to close it out. That was a good call on that boost.
Absolutely. I'm trying to work out how that went so wrong for Astralis there. Although they had a nice little option there to get onto the site, work together, but Denis found the first kill. He's actually had a really good game here, 20 frags for him, and it's a massive round. You can see Mousesports 1 point away from that point, Matt, and you can see the buy coming for Astralis now. Famis's and UMP, no kids, no real utility either, so this is a real chance now for Mousesports to run away with this right here, right now. Not out of it just yet. If Astralis win this round, all bets are off, and that's the first pick coming in. It's going to be an exchange. NiKo picks up the kill with dupreeh. Device needs to step up here. Does get a nade kill, but it's not enough. The B side is open, and now the rotating CD players both coming from spawn now.
So big. That's so big, that last round. That hold just absolutely puts the icing on the cake. This is pretty much a sealed game. The bomb planted once more. A man advantage. B side occupied. Smoke in. Zipic's going to go fast on this, but he's got no support directly in place. Zipex is going to try and hold it, but karrigan gets 1 kill. That's all they've mustered up so far. Down to 35 HP. And this is going to be map point. Surely Mousesports, chrisJ closing it off. And Astralis not able to get rolling on this CT side.
Fantastic game from chrisJ this series so far. With 15 plays 5. And we can see now potentially the last round coming in. Astralis in disarray with the money. They're going to have UMPs, Famis's, scouts. And you would assume this one's over, Matt. They still have a chance to actually stay alive, of course, but they would need 10 in a row just to force overtime at this point. So let's see what they can bring to the party here. chrisJ on towards the AWP. Does spot a couple of players crossing with that grenade we talked about before. But we'll see, it's more of a detail one coming in from Mousesports. No real aggression coming in at the start, not utilising any spawns. just be waiting and waiting for the CTs to make the next mistake. Obviously, the CTs no kits. They need to be hunting for a kill here. They need to have something to work with. They can't allow Mousesports to come in with a full execution. And dupreeh now trying to hunt for a kill with the scout over the top of that smoke.
Such a desperate situation for Astralis. Remember, best of 3, so they can still chime back into this, but Dust 2, remember, is a map where they kind of started off all of their success. They kick-started their success when they brought in karrigan to be the in-game leader of, at the time, what was the Dignitas, then TSM roster. Post-Fetish days, that was when they started getting their T-sides back in order, and it was what they coined the meta on the CT side, and as of late, it's been a little bit more tumultuous for them, but Denis is going to go around the corner. They're going to try and execute once more into B, but it's all through mid. No one toward the tunnels, which actually dupreeh's not ready for. Device gets flashed off. They've given up huge position. NiKo gets the kill, and dupreeh turns around, takes down Device. And the site there's for the taking. 2 players rotating out of A. It's down to just 1. karrigan versus 3. Next might be low enough on HP, but the other 2 are well enough off that this bomb will go down. And karrigan, is going to have to come up with a miracle.
Yeah, that tag team duo of NiKo and chrisJ is finding the frags left, right, and centre on the B side. Look at the Device, actually a real chance with that UMP, but it's kept getting flashed and was unable to find the first kill. karrigan now with no nades. Oh, okay. And we'll see. It's now 3-on-1, and René gets taken down in the end. So there it is, 16 plays 5. It's going to be Mousesports taking map number 1 here in very convincing fashion as well. Astralis, we talked about their CT side being dominant, but they never really got a chance to actually show us what they could do there after losing the pistol and getting taken down 16-5. There's not really much you can do. I don't think they won a single round there on the second half.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, the fact that they don't win a single... Sure, okay, they lost pistol. They lost both pistols. Perfect position for Mousesports to be in. Lose the first gunner, and they never had the money going, but you still kind of expect Astralis. All right, maybe they can get something rolling. Janko,
hi.
Convincing. Welcome back to the desk. First and foremost, the desk that we're allowed to touch today. We have balanced microphones. I can actually comfortably lay on it.
You're so satisfied about that.
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
I mean, it was a case of losing both pistols, but I think the most important round for Astralis was that anti-eco round.
Yeah.
It was, you know, Mouse was up 5-0, but after losing just 1 round, they had to eco, because I think that at times you could see Mouse how they're trying to play it real safe. You know, they get a couple of entry kills even on anti-ecos, and then they fall back, let their opponents plant the bomb, and in that anti-eco round, they let Astralis plant the bomb. They lost 3 players as well, which in turn, after they lost just 1 round, after being up 5-0, they were forced to eco, and it could have gone really terrible for them, but Astralis didn't play it optimally. Again, they went for those, you know, close quarters towards the B bomb site, not having map control anywhere else. I think it was karrigan who was alone in lower B. He dies as well, and just, you know, they were in a terrible situation.
Why does it feel like every game we're talking about this day, like top teams not really approaching these eco situations correctly?
I know, Henry.
Even though they went for vision towards B, they established those pistols. Instead of that point, they think, okay, let's slow this down, let's wait for them to make
And they even knew chrisJ was in that corner. They could have flushed him out.
It just blows my mind.
The YouTube channel is there, Henry.
Yes.
The videos
Check
are there.
It's on there.
For Dust 2, it's there as well.
Yeah, like it's just to make the point, people don't know what we're talking about, right? So when you're in an anti-eco situation, obviously B tunnels is one of the tightest choke points you can possibly enter. You enter the site, if you don't do it effectively without the correct grenades and flashbangs, you're going to be walking, you've got like 5 or 6 different angles you need to walk in and check. And if you have crossfires or pistols coming in there and you're having to change your attention every 5 seconds, that's when it gets really complicated and you start losing frags and you don't get the exchanges in. You can just slow that right down. As soon as you establish your own pistols, they're on the offense at that point. They need to come find you. You don't actually need to do any work. You fall back, spread out across the map. Then you should stay effectively together and you're actually trading frags. That's how you should be approaching the situation. Smoking off towards spawn, maybe you just going out middle together, and that's what you should be doing. But when you panic and you're not assertive enough with your decisions, like when one person runs in and everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? I need to get the frag back. And then it seems like it all kind of falls apart from that point.
Yeah, it was desperate for sure. And I think part of it was contributed to the fact that they lost middle and thought, all right, if we just go B, they've got 2 players in mid. But that again, desperate situation. They lost the bomb. We switch focus now again. Dust 2, both teams were fairly competent on it. We knew it was going to be a fair fight, but I would have favored still Astralis just because, again, it's their meta. They kind of developed it. We go to Train now.
Yes.
I think the Train, in my opinion, does still favor Astralis. So if they're... maybe that was an anomaly, or maybe they're just not in this series at all. I think this is the indication point, because if they come out slow on Train, all right, then there's definitely issues.
I think it favors them a lot. I think it's the map that Mouse plays the least out of the maps they do actually play. Although I think it's a better map for them than Cobble or even Overpass that they also tried playing at times. But yeah, definitely this has to be Astralis' map. If they don't win this map, then they're simply haven't shown up as you said it. But I feel that they're actually going to wake up now. I think that they're going to take train, and we're going to see a third map. Dust 2 was a must-win for Mouse, for them to have a chance in this best of 3, and they did take it in dominating fashion.
Yeah, Train's an interesting one. When Gobi was in the Mousesports lineup, this is actually one of the maps they actually like playing. It's actually what put them on the map. Originally, at Gfinity, we first saw them actually take down Virtus Pro in a decent series, and we thought, wow, this team's actually for real. Like, they actually do some trouble in the top tiers of the scene. But ever since NiKo's taken over and Gobi's been removed, it seems like a map they play less and less right now. But considering the form I've seen Astralis in, unless someone really wakes up, this could be a 2-0, you know? Like, it's a map Mouse can play. It's not one of the best ones for sure, but cajunb not really arriving on the server whatsoever. He looked very quiet for that series, and this is what we talk about time and time again. And these, not necessarily, this is obviously an online game. It's not like a semi-final at a LAN, but still similar issues with the star players not really finding friends.
I get what you're alluding to.
Which is funny, because what I wanted to say, but good thing I didn't have enough time, was that Astralis rarely, you know, gets upset by underdogs, right? They rarely lose to teams that are not in the top 4, basically. And they just got decimated by Mouse here, so have to see if they can be able to bounce back. Well,
that said, guys, we will take a short break. They're almost ready. I see 4 players in the server already on train, which will be map 2. I think we're all in popular opinion that this should be an Astralis victory to force out of map 3. But again, Mousesports have definitely shown up on Dust. We'll see if they can do the same here. We'll be right back in ECS.